Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I'm going to dive right into a time of worship, of devotion together. I had an opportunity to go this past week to visit some family in Florida. Just a little getaway, bonus getaway with school ending a week early. And so yesterday we were driving back home, driving through the panhandle of Florida somewhere, and where we planned to eat lunch didn't pan out, and so it was one of those take what you can get kind of a deal. So we stopped at McDonald's somewhere in the middle of the panhandle yesterday for lunch. And why am I telling you this? As we were ordering our food, we were hearing the song that I'm actually going to lead today for our devotional. It's an old Chris Tomlin song from 2002. Playing on the radio in McDonald's, and one, it was a throwback. I immediately started singing, and it was a great kind of nostalgic moment, if you will. But then at the same time, as I was listening to it, it was so unexpected to hear Chris Tomlin playing in McDonald's in the middle of Florida somewhere. You go into Chick-fil-A and you hear the Christian hits kind of play in instrumental versions. It's always Oceans when I'm in there, playing instrumental version of Oceans. And so it's expected there. But for some reason at a McDonald's, it seemed out of place, and but encouraging all at the same time. And as I was kind of reflecting on that, as I was thinking about that, I thought about how we as Christians are called to shine our light in the darkness. And now I'm not calling McDonald's darkness necessarily, but we think about darkness as the worst possible places, right? We think about, the strip clubs, the dirtiest, shadiest bar you can imagine, the people doing drugs and raves and that kind of stuff. That's what we think about a lot of times when we think about shining our light in the darkness, is going to those places. And if that's what it is, it may be easy to kind of go in with a boldness and with a mission and shine your light in those dark places. But we don't generally think about the faithful witness of everyday life, the faithful witness of shining a light in McDonald's when we're ordering our food, when we're ordering our lunch in the middle of nowhere, Florida, right? It's easy to get annoyed. It's easy to get frustrated. Slow service or rude employees or other customers or whatever the case may be. It's easy for us to just kind of deflate and for us to think about it's just McDonald's, right? Nobody knows me here. Nobody cares what I say. Nobody cares what I do. I can let my guard down a little bit. But how stark of a contrast it was to hear a Christian song playing in McDonald's, right? Now, I guess it would be a stark contrast to hear that playing, at one of those dark fringe places as well. But I was just reminded of how much our light shining in even just a place that, isn't used to light shining, can stand out and be such a dramatic shift of the tone of the culture of the dark place that we're in. And so I want to call us to that faithful presence, that faithful witness of shining our light in every day, of shining our light in all the places, in all the areas, not just the dark fringe places that hopefully we're not going to anyway, but in a McDonald's, right? Shine your light wherever that may be. And so the song that was playing was Enough by Chris Tomlin, and I think there was the Jeremy Camp version playing. But it was originally written by Chris Tomlin, Louis Giglio, Jesse Reeves, bass player. And it's rooted around John chapter 6. And in this chapter, Jesus has just fed the 5,000. And so then the crowds kind of find him on the other side of the shore. And we pick up in verse 26 of chapter 6. And Jesus answered, "Very truly I tell you, you are looking for me not because you saw the signs I performed, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill." The people had just gotten filled up. They got nourishment. They got the fish. They got the food. And so they're seeking out Jesus because of the stuff they got. That's what he's saying. But Jesus then says, "Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. For on him God the Father has placed his seal of approval." Then they asked him, "What must we do to do the works God requires?" And Jesus answered, "The work of God is this, to believe in the one he has sent." So they asked him, "What sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you? What will you do? Our ancestors ate the manna in the wilderness," still focusing on bread, physical things. "As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat." And Jesus said to them, "Very truly I tell you, it is not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but my Father who gives you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is the bread that comes down from heaven and gives the life to the world." "Sir," they said, "always give us this bread." Then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." And so Jesus obviously takes the shift where they're focusing on physical needs, physical food, the manna, physical food in the wilderness to sustain, to say, I'm talking about something much deeper, much more significant, and that's your spiritual health, that's your soul, and the eternal life when you come to me for everything that you need, for every source of life, every breath, every piece of existence comes from God. And so we have to eat physical food, obviously, but that's just a small piece, because our sustenance, our life comes from Jesus, the bread of life. And that's what this song is about, is that God is enough. Jesus is enough for every need, every thirst. And so let's just focus on him this morning as we sing. And all of you is more than enough for all of me, for every thirst and every need. You satisfy me with your love, and all I have in you is more than enough. That's right. He's the source of life. You are my supply, my breath of life. Still more awesome than I know. You are my reward, worth living for. Still more awesome than I know. And all of you is more than enough for all of me, for every thirst and every need. You satisfy me with your love, and all I have in you is more than enough. Yes, it is. You're my sacrifice, the greatest price. Still more awesome than I know. Yes, you're my coming King. You are everything. Still more awesome than I know. And all of you is more than enough for all of me, for every thirst and every need. You satisfy me with your love, and all I have in you is more than enough, more than all I want, more than all I need. You are more than enough for me, more than all I know, more than all I can say. You are more than enough, and all of you is more than enough for all of me, for every thirst and every need. You satisfy me with your love, and all I have in you is more than enough, and all I have in you is more than enough. It's such an amazing truth. It's an older song, it's 21 years old now, but the truth still remains. The truth still stands. That even at a McDonald's where we're focused on physical food, physical nourishment, this song's playing, talking about Jesus being our spiritual life, the nourishment for our souls, more than everything Ephesians 5 says that God is able to do immeasurably more than we could ever ask, hope, imagine. It's because He's the source of life, the source of hope. So let's just sing this morning as we make it our prayer. More than all I want, more than all I need, you are more than enough for me. More than all I know, more than all I can say, you are more than enough. Just come to Him. And all of you is more than enough for all of me, for every thirst and every need. You satisfy me with your love, and all I have in you is more than enough, and all I have in you is more than enough. May we be people that live lives that reflect that, believing, trusting that God is enough, that everything we can need in life for sustenance, for eternal life, for salvation, for forgiveness, comes from Him, the bread of life, the source of hope and forgiveness. And then be people who live out that faithful witness, that faithful presence, that even in a McDonald's in the middle of nowhere, people say, wow, something's different. Something here is different, and I want to know about it. And we can tell them who it is. It's Jesus Christ, the bread of life, who is more than enough. I hope you guys will join us this Sunday in worship. See you guys then. Take care.